Welcome to Live the Call, a podcast about awakening, alignment, and what happens when we choose to follow the voice within. I'm Pamela Downes, your host, and each week I sit down with someone who's saying yes to their soul, trusting divine timing, and walking their spiritual path with purpose. These conversations are here to inspire you to listen more deeply, to live more fully, and to remember why you're here. Let's begin. Today's conversation is deeply human. I'm joined by Helmut Koeckritz, also known as the Mindful Gardener, and I love the way that sounds, a mindful gardener. It's so cool. Helmut's journey is one of profound physical and emotional suffering, over 70 symptoms, countless diagnoses, chronic fatigue, anxiety, pain. But today he is fully recovered. What I love about your story, Helmut, is that it's not just about you chasing the next thing, right? It's about reclaiming your power, and that's what we talk about here on Live the Call. It's about understanding the alarm system of the body and learning how to guide yourself back to safety. So welcome, Helmut.
Thanks for having me.
You're here. You're welcome. I love your name. It's so unique. It's an amazing opportunity to just have a really grounded conversation, and people love this because they learn something. They get inspired. And I always start and begin our conversation with a question, that kind of reveals a little bit more about you. We talk about the spirit whispering, we talk about it calling, we talk about answering it, we talk about living. So when was the first time, if there was, that you heard that spirit calling? And if you heard it, what was it saying to you?
I think it was calling and calling and calling, and I wasn't listening, it was cloudy. The transmission was cloudy. So I think it was always going like this, and I was going like, nothing. So I had to go through a period where I had all the symptoms screaming at me,
Yeah.
and my regular fix-it things wasn't working anymore. So I went through a period of no answers, nothing. And it was like a purgatory phase of nothing's working, what's going on, screaming, freaking out. And I needed to be in that phase for a while so that I would finally break down the barriers and look within. And then because, your 3D reality is lying to you, you're trying all these things to fix. And I'm happy nothing worked. Actually, things got worse.
Wow.
Ongoing. So you have to look within, because it's like, okay, it's not so woo woo anymore. It's not so, yeah, that's wishful thinking. This is what I have to do. I have to look within, and then you kind of cross that invisible bridge with trust eventually. And the more and more I did it, the more I started to trust the messages. Because at first you're like, I don't know, that's a coincidence? Maybe not. And then the synchronicities, they were like cha-ching, cha-ching. And then I think this journey forced me to get into visualizations. I never did visualizations before in my life, right? But it was, it was still learning how to ride a bike. It was difficult. I had a lot of resistance with my physical brain and my ego. I couldn't break through, but I get these little glimpses, and then eventually I see evidence, and then I would start to trust, and then the synchronicities, and then eventually start to really tune in
Yeah.
easier. So it was a learning process.
Perfectly said. It's true. It's like in our three-dimensional reality, we need evidence, man. We need evidence to believe, right? And someone was telling me about that yesterday. The evidence builds trust. And then the more you do it, like riding that bicycle, getting back on there, lifting that one leg up and then the other, and like you're like, whoa, evidence that I'm not going to fall, right? So a lot of people have NDEs. A lot of people have, I had my knockdown, whole world got thrown up, things came down in a different way. You had your healing journey, but your sickness to your healing journey. So let's go back to the beginning and talk about, the version of you that is a former version of yourself that was in that suffering place, that was going through that journey of trying to figure out that wasn't listening to your spirit. And let's start there.
I think it was a progression slowly of, a couple of symptoms here and there in my 20s, 30s. It started building up, and then it finally came crashing down where I had 75 symptoms. And it was a bit of an awakening. And it was, it shook me really hard, because I was just not listening. I think it had to do with, you know, relationships that were toxic, and I kept inviting in the same type of frequencies in my life, and it could be my upbringing, talk, friends, toxic work environments, getting sick here and there, and just the constant stress that I was putting on my body. My bucket was getting fuller and fuller and fuller, and then finally, it, you know, it was the last drop in the bucket that started to overflow, and then it was like a switch went off. Like, I was a person that, okay, I was managing a couple symptoms here and there, a couple of gut issues, ulcerative colitis. I had medications. I was still kind of living life. I was kind of miserable, kind of like not really living life, right? If you like, I wasn't happy about anything, but I wasn't like horribly sad. I was just kind of like on pause, not really going anywhere.
Autopilot.
Yeah, autopilot. And it's like, well, what's the point of life if I'm just an autopilot? But I didn't think of it that way. So then the symptoms hit all at once. I had severe food sensitivities where I can only eat two safe foods. I was a foodie. I love food. I ate all the food. And overnight, let's say 3 nights, 3 days, all of a sudden it was less and less and less, reacting to more foods, being in denial, trying to, do my fasting or using carnivore to get rid of it. I'll just carnivore this away or fast this away. It wasn't working anymore. And then I had two safe foods that I could only eat. It was rice and beef. And eventually it was apples. And for some reason, as soon as I, ate like a tomato or anything small, I would go into a severe gut reaction with symptoms for 2 weeks at a time. Like crashes, severe, right? And then, there's fear that comes along with it because you're like, what's going on? This is not normal. Like, you hear about these freak stories with, over there. It's usually somebody else that's dealing with this. And you're like, yeah, that's crazy. Whatever. I'm just going to live life and move on. But that's crazy. Or I don't believe their story. They're looking for some sort of, they're looking for attention, or, right? I was judging people, right? And then it's me.
Right.
It's happening to me. I'm the freak show. I'm dealing with all these crazy symptoms. And then I was like, you know what? It was always supposed to be me, right? This is like the movie. This is my movie. Of course, I'm supposed to live a life. Yeah, my lead story. I'm supposed to be living a life of chronic symptoms for the rest of my. Then the stories and the movie starts. You start ruminating. So then, yeah, for a while, I had to go down the Facebook rabbit holes, which adds gasoline to the fire. I tried to heal the gut, try to fix my motherfucker gene, try to, fix my mitochondria, SIBO this, gut healing that. I tried everything, and it was just making things worse. And then the people in these Facebook groups, they give you like no hope. And if you try to look for a hope, they shut you down because there's some people there. They're
Because they're
miserable.
comfortable in their space. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't want you getting out of this. They're like, that's not, yeah, right. That's not going to happen. I had to deal with this for 26 years. Yeah, okay. We're not giving false hope. So then they block you. And then you can't, you can't, you start to getting blocked off these groups. And then you're just spiraling.
Yeah, but
So
it
then
sounds like you didn't resonate with them. It sounds like
yeah,
you knew,
exactly.
like you had to have this whole experience. We always talk about this, right? You're forming the masterpiece of Helmut, who's right here and now, and that's going to change here and now and continually. But you had to understand that, right? And the spaces that these people live in, and the places that they're just like fueling their fire. And I'm curious, like in your 20s, it starts, and that's like you move into your decade of your 30s, and life throws on a little more responsibility and more pressure and more this and more that. And, I'm curious if your life was changing while these symptoms were accumulating, and like, where were you in your life cycle at that point too?
I'm not sure if this was scripted, that I had to go through all this
Yeah,
so that it was like my training
it was
to
your
get some.
training.
Yeah, that's what I think it was. Like, right? When I look back, I go, it was hell. I didn't know at the time why, but now I'm like, oh, it's so perfect. I'm glad I'm out of it. Don't get me wrong here, but it prepared me for what I'm doing now in my life, and I'm offering something that I could have not ever offered. Like, it's unique. I feel special. I feel unique. I can do this extra other stuff. I'm not, you know. So that for me makes sense now, but at the time, I was just being tossed, in the wind constantly. New challenges, inviting in more toxic people, and there was good times. I had some good times and everything, but then um, I'm literally a different person than I was before. I like different music. I like different, you know, I have different friends. I've deleted most of my friends. I've purged like 90% of my friends gone. You know, I'm a person that likes to be by myself with dogs. And before I was a social butterfly, partying it all the time. I love partying. I was in a band. You know,
Yeah,
living the
I knew
life.
you were a creative. I had a feeling you were a creative. And as empaths and creatives, we take on a lot of external energies and a lot
Hmm.
of extra feeling and a lot of all of that stuff. What decade are you in now? Are you in your 40s? Or your third?
Oh yeah, 48
Are
almost.
you 48? Okay, I didn't want to say how old are you?
I have to think
But
about that. It's
yeah, I
crazy.
know. Because I mean, a lot of our stories are the same for us who are out there trying to support and alleviate some suffering for others with our experience and our knowledge. We didn't know what we were doing at the time. We were traveling on this road of understanding ourselves and expansion. It's not what we would have labeled it then. Yeah, it was freaking hard. But by you going through that, you're the witness, just like my story too. By me going through what I went through, I'm the witness. That's why so many people can relate to the work you're doing and see you as someone that can support them and vice versa. And it's needed now because we'll talk about this later, but all the dynamic shifts that are happening on our planet, wellness, health and
Mm.
wellness, nutrition, and stress and all the things that you're coupled into your big ball of all the things that you were are shifting too, and people need to learn how to make some changes in those spaces. So
Yeah.
in your 30s coming into your 40s, alleviating was it 75 symptoms? How
Yep.
did you do that? How did that even
Uh,
start?
uh, I think the way it happened was when I was in these Facebook rabbit hole groups. Um, I found one person who said, "Oh, I have 11 foods that I can eat," and I was like, "11 foods? I'll take that. I'd rather have that than where I am now." So I reached out to her, and then she got blocked, but I was able to get her. And I asked her, what did she do? And she said, oh, I do this brain retraining, and I'm into this mind body space. I'm like, okay, okay, I'm gonna try that. So I researched this brain retraining world. There was a lot of success stories, and then some of the success stories, they looked like they were like me, freaks, right? I was like, okay, wow, this person has this. I'm starting to get hope. I feel like I'm not such a freak show. I feel like there is the evidence that I need. I'm like, okay, I don't fully understand how this stuff works, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to commit. And I'm a person that never was somebody who committed to anything. I was lazy. I never, I was wishy washy most of my life with everything. I was a dreamer, but I never executed anything. Right. But the fear, thank goodness I had a lot of fear that drove me to be consistent and do the work. So for me, it was doing the work every day, showing up for myself. I had a routine schedule that I had. I had a calendar, right? And I started slow. I had a calendar, and it was Groundhog Day. Every day was Groundhog Day, and the fear was driving me, and my reality was screaming at me, saying, "Dude, you're never gonna recover." Right? When I did my visualizations, I'd go to the past and think about something beautiful. It said, "Remember when you could do this, and you can't do that now." And I
Mm.
would go to the future, would say, Helmut, you're never going to have a home near the West Coast, near the mountains. No, you're going to be living by yourself, single, in the basement with 2.5 cats. You're going to be a cat guy, right? And my 3D reality kept saying, no, 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 doubt, doubt, doubt. I'm a special case.
Mm.
And I don't know, I had this like little bit of a knowing, like a knowing that, no, you're going to make this. You're going to do it. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, you do the work every day. You show up, you see little signs of evidence, and then it goes away, and then it comes back, and things get a little bit better, and then you go through new challenges, new layers of the onion, because it's like this, right? It's never linear. And then, um, yeah, after doing the work, I had to jump ship from the type of work that I was doing because I had plateaued. I got stuck. And then that was scary because that's triggering. I'm like, well, I thought this was it. This was my path. And now it's like, no, you have to go to this path. So I had to be vulnerable, be my own God, experiment. And then I found the missing piece to my journey. And I think it's a universal law. I'm sure you know about it. But with my symptoms, I had to start taking away the resistance and the fight of my thoughts, feelings, and symptoms. I had to take it away and allow them to be there. I actually had to have more symptoms because they became opportunities for me to update my nervous system, the programming.
Yeah.
So it was a weird paradox. It's like, no, ask for more symptoms. You need them. And then I started doing that, and things all of a sudden shifted because I started building a leverage of indifference to the symptoms because the fear started to go. When the fear goes, the nervous system finally calms down by itself. When it does that, the symptoms go as a consequence.
Yeah.
Craziness.
I mean, imagine that, right?
Yeah. And it's the opposite of what I was being taught on the internet. Fix this, do that, fix a mitochondria, take a supplement, right?
Yes. We're not taught the ways. We're not taught universal laws. We're not taught about the law of attraction. We're not taught that we're creator and manifestors. We're not taught any of that. And that this happens in my soul path coaching, where people are creating here and now and their future with their experience right here and now. And until something breaks that cycle, like you're allowing more in to be in discovery and to change, that's progress. That's shifting your vibration. It's letting go of attachments. And it's like turning the dial to the one place to the right, or one position over. It's fascinating. Yeah, I love that. And so, accepting and not fighting your current reality, but accepting it, taking those attachments and the resistance off. That's awesome. Yeah.
I want to add something. The thing that made me learn this and forced me to learn it, I wouldn't have been able to do it, was the OCD looping thoughts that I had, because I had horrible anxiety, looping thoughts every 3 seconds. I had a safe room where I was pacing back and forth, trying to figure out my looping thoughts. And the more I tried to figure them out, the more they got bigger. So what I resisted persisted. So then having the OCD was actually what taught me. So it was, for me, the OCD was the greatest teacher. Having the health anxiety, the looping thoughts taught me how to implement taking away the resistance. Because if you do it wrong, it's going to show you. So you see the contrast of, oh, this is getting worse and worse. Okay, I'm going to try to let it do its thing, let it dissolve, let the symptoms run wild. Okay, now it's starting to calm down over time. So it was, for 3 years, you're forced to learn this through your physical body. And it just so happens that, well, I think it's a universal type of law.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
It's reprogramming too.
Yeah.
It's recalibrating. It's changing your frequency. Well, so then by doing that, did you kind of drop off one symptom at a time, or did you have like this whole, what was that experience like?
Well, symptoms, they started to, I call them alarms. They started to get turned off one at a time. And the brain was still, I wasn't out of the woods yet, because there was time. I still had to, the journey wasn't over yet. So it would find new symptoms to get my attention. So I'd have new symptoms come, old symptoms returning, and I'd have setbacks. So things got, it was almost like things get worse, but I grew resilience, and I doubled down on the methods. And then eventually, when I became totally indifferent, without looking to see if that symptom is gone, with no strings attached, like fully being okay with that, let's say shoulder pain, to be here for another year, and me going, I don't care, that's cool. When I got to the point where I was like that, then they started to update. The programming started to update, the software started to update, and then symptoms started to go slowly as a consequence. I think after the third year, I would say 90% of my symptoms left. And then getting back into life brought the symptoms back up a little bit, because I had to work, be social again, do family things, watch things that used to be triggering. So it was more exposure. So then I did that. That was my next layer. And then the symptoms were gone. And then I had confidence, cocky confidence, where it's like, nothing can break me right now. Right?
I know how it all works.
Right? I felt like I was a beast. I was like, give me more. I've had so much experience.
Right.
And that's how I got out of it, by being cool with being in it. Like sending a message of safety while being in the danger constantly. I was okay with being in it, walking in the fire constantly.
Mm-hmm. So then how did that lead to, where did you get the inspiration to even start doing what you're doing? How did that lead to, hey, I should probably start this? Or, and what were you doing for work at the time?
Nothing. I couldn't work. I was so severe.
Wow. Yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah. First it was bedridden. Then I could finally, get into a routine of life, but I couldn't work. So then finally, when I recovered, then I started doing like Uber Eats, and then I started doing cleaning. And I thought, I should be a coach. Maybe I should give back, and this is my purpose, right? And then I tried it, and I didn't like it. It was just too much. I was still at the tail end, still triggered when people talked about symptoms constantly. I was exhausted. It was just too much. They would unload. I was like, oh, that's too much energy. I'm absorbing their energy. I'm like, I can't do this. So I said, you know what? I earned my recovery. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to go start a cleaning company and start cleaning. So I want to get it far away from health stuff as possible and do carpet cleaning or office cleaning. And I loved it because all you're doing is cleaning, right? You're just like listening to music, cleaning, right? Make some money. It was great.
Satisfying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
I like to clean things.
But then it seemed like the my higher self or whatever up there was going, all right, that's enough. Get back on track. Right. It's like, no, 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 no. You had enough. Get back to your purpose. And I was like, and it kept like calling me in weird ways. And I started getting interested in it again, but not being triggered, enjoying it again. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. It was bad timing. And I needed to do something else to come see that, okay, wherever I go, it's following me. So why don't I start a YouTube channel? Why don't I see where that takes me? And then eventually I was doing both. And then I was like, I'd really like to do this full time and not this so much. And then I did the jump. And then synchronicities would come in, right? You go to do a carpet job, they complain, equipment doesn't work, right? There's always these challenges. I'm like, and then this other thing is working more efficiently. I'm having more fun. I'm like, I think that's my guidance GPS system telling me, go here.
Yeah. 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 This is what your life's purpose is. Come on, Helmut, get on this path. And you're like, okay, I'll listen. That's awesome though. So that is when your spirit started calling you. That is when your higher future version of yourself was like, come on, Helmut, this way. Start doing this stuff right now. Let's take all these things that we know and help other people. That's cool. So what were you sharing on your YouTube channel first? What were you talking about?
In the beginning, I was just getting uncomfortable by doing it. Because
Yeah.
at first I was
Right.
very rigid.
Extremely
Very like,
uncomfortable.
yeah, I was like, okay, so when you're dealing with symptoms, you want to, I was like really, like a robot. And then I just kept doing it and doing it. And I would just talk about my personal experience, which I noticed not many people are doing in the mind body space, talking about how they felt when they're going through a particular symptom and what that symptom was like and the what your thoughts were like. And then I add some humor into it so it doesn't makes it less serious. And I tried to be authentic. I did have a bunch of F-bombs I tried to control, but sometimes I get passionate about things, so I dropped a couple F-bombs. But it seemed to resonate with some people, so I just kept going. And then I kind of morphed and changed, updated, and I enjoy it, right? I just talk about my experience, how I felt. I did very little research. I actually think research for me would taint my experience, even if I'm wrong, even if the research is right.
Right.
I don't want to learn it because I don't want it to change what I felt and what I experienced because I always want to talk from my heart.
Yeah. It's awesome. I love that. That's the way to
Yeah.
speak, man, because that's how you connect to other people. And that's
Yeah.
that resonance, that frequency. So it started out with your YouTube. And then where did it go from there? I mean, it's really cool. You have a community. You have, people around you that want to be a part of what you've created, and they see value in your information and all of the things that you're offering. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive to be able to. I mean, I did it. I'm doing it too, right? We're doing it real time. But it's number one, it's hard to listen to the guidance and stepping into the unknown. Number two, it's like, your story is not just your story. Someone just taught me recently how you lived your journey on your story is what inspires other people because that's what their experience is. They're living their story as well. And you serve as that inspiration to them. Um, you know, it takes guts to do that. It takes guts to listen, to step into the space of the unknown. And it's like it was a whole new world. I mean, actually, you were cleaning things
Yep.
So it's not like you went into, building roofs or something. You went into cleaning things, which is what you're actually doing with the body and the energy. And then a person, their physical experience, right? It's so cool. It's interesting. Um, Tell me what expanded from there.
I just kept doing it, and I created a website. I think it's more like doing it, creating a website, and then having things not work, so you keep tweaking and updating, and then going, I need a better website. I need
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to do better equipment. I need to do this better. I need an intro. Maybe I should package my thumbnails better because I'm being lazy with my thumbnails, and I need to have bring more awareness. And it feels like I'm putting so much energy into my video, and I'm getting like 40 likes or 40 views, right? So so it's more okay. Now I got to find a way to broadcast myself so I have a louder voice, so I can bring more awareness. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, experimenting, doing the wrong things, tweaking, to see where it goes.
So when do you work with people one on one, or are you talking with people inside your community? Like, do people get to speak with you directly?
With my so I have my channel, and then I have my website where I do Zoom calls, group coaching, and it's a monthly membership. They join, and there's a program in there that I tell people, watch the program, learn it inside out, and this is where you got to take the information and apply it to yourself. You have to become your own mindful guardian. You have to become your own guide. Because if you're looking to have your hand held, then it's not going to work. And plus, I don't want to be too exhausted with being too enmeshed with people's personal lives. I work better if it's like, here's the information, apply it to yourself, and then when you come in the group, we'll talk about how we implement it and put it into action. And we stick to the pillars, right? And then that's how I kind of run things from now. And I'm wanting to grow a bigger community. It's just I'm kind of on the fence about it because communities can sometimes be toxic and right. So I'm seeing what I can do.
Yeah, you get to create the frequency around it's around you and your frequency, and
Right.
whoever's supposed to align with you will. It's really cool, and it has to be a self-empowered experience because they're living their individual lives. They have to learn that and be empowered within themselves. That's awesome. That's really cool. How did you come up with the name?
The mindful gardener.
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, I should have a brain with a garden in it. That'd be cool. So then I thought mindfulness. Okay. So then eventually I picked. I think it just kind of came to me, and I just rolled with it because I needed to have something quick. So then I thought, well, you have a garden, you got to prune the weeds, you got to plant seeds, and you got to make sure you're on top of it. So you got to build the garden and read them in your brain, because this is what happened to me. My old self pretty much died. It dissolved, right? And I created a new version of myself by planting the seeds and going through all the soil and making sure it's enriched and watering it and having the sun, and right. And that's what it is, being the gardener of yourself.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. And we talk about so much in our community, when you are able to alleviate the suffering in the body, it allows the mind to be at ease, which you just discussed. But it also allows, like you had that calling, you had that knowing, you had the faith of a mustard seed. We've heard that before. That allows that intuition, that higher guidance, guides, our team to intuit us and to allow us to get the ideas of, oh, I should probably do this different with my thumbnail, or maybe I should create this different for the community, or this. And it's a continual, you're nurturing and it's cultivating continually. And it's a beautiful, beautiful experience because it's not just alleviating the symptoms and learning how to live more intentionally. You're allowing people to become more spiritual and to raise their frequency and their vibration, which attracts all kinds of new things to them. So that's a different
Yeah.
way of gardening, right? Gardening and sowing for the future.
I'm still learning. I'm just
Yeah.
going with the flow, just trusting and I only see this, I only see what it was meant afterwards. I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, I'll just keep trusting. I'll just keep building, 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 and making mistakes and having negative feedback. Like lately, it's been. I heard I'm not very good at astrology, but I'm trying to learn that Saturn is purposely trying to get me to grow a thicker skin by making me stand in my own 2 feet without collapsing. So saying my truth and standing up for myself. So that's more learning. That's more updating that I'm going
For
through.
sure. Yeah, you will continue to go through that as we all are now. I'm not really into astrology either, but we just closed out a 9-year cycle and we just started a new 1 year, which is everything new. So it's like a brand new garden, with new things and opportunities and possibilities that you might even not even know, Helmut, things that are out there swirling around and being conspired for us that are getting ready to go into that garden, that are going to start reaping and we're going to start reaping and sowing. I would like to know, you know, you said you're 48. I feel like I'm older than you. I'm going to be 56. These some of my magic started after 44 when I had my knockdown and my change. But these are the greatest years of our lives. This is when we step into our power, the full version of who we were meant to be when we came to this version of ourselves on planet Earth. I mean, sky's the limit. You can do anything you want to. Is there any, I know you said you're just here and now and learning, but if you could create anything, is there something that's like a dream wish or an idea that's starting to develop or anything like that coming to the forefront of your mind?
I think it's just being concentrating on doing content, and just because I think I can help more people with content than I would if I were to do one-on-ones than if I did groups. Being able to do that and enjoying it, because if I enjoy it, I'm going to want to do it.
Yeah,
Right?
you are.
So I got to be honest with myself, because you might have these dreams where, like, yeah, you have one-on-one meetings, you have 5 of them, and then blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to like that. So I got to be honest with myself. I got to do something so I'm going to like it. So I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. I
So
see you having supplements. I see you having things to help, like, people optimize their experience. And it could be so cool. Like, just you're a musician, that space. I'm a musician, a singer, an artist. Being in that space of inspiration, being in that creative space, that's when, like, I never thought of that's come in, right? So you have no idea what's there, what's going to be on your future palette.
that's interesting that you say that, because lately, because I've always wanted to be like, I looked up to bands like Nirvana, Korn, like the cool bands, right? And that nostalgia, that vibe that they got. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool to be a mind body guy that has that cool vibe, instead of like the traditional, and we're here to help you with this. Like, I'd rather be like a rock star mind body guy.
Totally. That's what you should do.
Yeah,
Maybe you could
that's
have
what I think.
events.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, wellness events where you share your music. It's funny because I feel music coming back into my life now too. I feel it starting, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
what am I going to do with this? What am I going to create with this? But the most beautiful thing about it is now you're having conversations, you're helping people understand and empower themselves. That's the key. It's embodiment. That's what I'm doing too. It's embodiment. No longer are we sitting there and watching lectures, and it's like, it's not about watching and using your brain. It's about this experiential learning, that sort of thing. Music's a part of that. Music amplifies that frequency.
Yep.
So, that's cool.
Which is
That's
interesting,
cool.
because music was one of the big things in my recovery. I A part of my routine, I had these things that I did throughout the day, visualizations, walking, allowing throughout the day. But one of them that was one of the biggest was elevating. So I would take like 45 minutes around after dinner time, and I would listen to 70s groove or reggae music, and I would just dance. And I can't dance. I'm the worst dancer, right? I closed the doors so nobody could see me, and I would just start busting a move for 45 minutes every day. And I loved it. I
Yeah,
loved it. I wasn't good at it, but it helped bring my survival state down over time.
totally.
And it was great. So
Yeah, it was
it's
part of it.
interesting you mentioned that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. Inside of my community, we create a custom sound healing every month in a frequency to help people amplify their vibration. And music is so important. People might not even put weight on it, but have it integrated in their life, and they don't see it the way we just described it. But if you want to reset, like you did with taking the attachments and the expectations and that cycle, if you want to do that, that's what you did with music. You broke it, and you flipped the switch, like you changed it. Music can help you do that. And I pick out my guitar or my piano, or I just start singing, or I get my paintbrush out and I start drawing or painting. It's a reset. It's a vibrational shift and reset. So it's imperative, I believe, for the wellness of your physical being.
Well, it
For
puts you
sure.
there. It hits
Yeah.
differently than if you were to watch Seinfeld or something, or maybe, Doodle, right? Sometimes it's not funny. Sometimes it doesn't
Right,
keep you
right.
there. But music, every time, if I listen to, A Day in the Life of from the Beatles, I'm there. I can't. I have to be there. It
Yeah.
holds me there.
Get emotional with that song, actually.
Yeah.
It's so
Oh, big time.
beautiful. Yeah. Well, this was amazing. This was really amazing. And I know that there are people that will really resonate with your story and that they're going to want to learn more about you. So share, anything you're excited about right now, share all the details of where people can find you. I'll also put it in the show notes for them to go and check it out.
I'm the Mindful Gardener, but you can just find me at Helmut Koeckritz on YouTube or the Mindful Gardener. If you do either or, you'll find me. And Instagram, TikTok, I'm sure you'll find me, but I haven't really put much energy into TikTok yet. But it's mostly just YouTube and Instagram. You can find me there.
Okay. And what is your website?
It's the mindfulgardener.com.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And so if you want to learn more about Helmut and his work, go to the show notes, check it out. And I'm just so grateful that you were here today to share your story. And
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'd love for anybody who resonated with this story or had some similar experiences to post below and share your experience, share your comments. And I just want you to remember that these conversations are a place for us to connect, to know that we're not alone, right? To know that this journey that we're on, it's unique to us, but there's a lot of other people who have had similar experiences. And that's why we're here. And that healing is possible, even when it feels impossible. It's possible. It's all from inside. So with that, I just want you to remember, everyone who's listening, that within every moment lies the call to listen to your spirit, answer it, honor it, and always live it. Live the call. Helmut, thank you so much. And
Thank
to
you very much.
everyone,
Thank you.
you're welcome. We'll see you again soon. Until next time.